Hi guys, it's me again. I'm checking in as I'm wrapping up the grading for the ecology of policy assignments. You should be able to see your grades now in Blackboard, unless you're one of the few people that submitted a day or two late, in which case I'm still working through those. I should have those up within the next day or so though. Again, you guys are fantastic. I really enjoy reading these papers. I think you guys did a really nice job of identifying different areas, justifying your identification and your choices around those specific areas and comparisons. I really appreciated some of you guys going above and beyond in terms of creating those tables or graphs to depict your different comparisons across the counties, the states, and the countries. Some of you guys also included information about gender and broke things down not only by those locations but by gender, different rates for each gender. Some of you guys included data about race, some about age. It was really interesting to see how you guys thought about this and how you decided to present your information. It was really interesting and very exciting for me to read. I wanted to just give a few pieces of general feedback. Generally speaking, when you're creating these tables, some of you this doesn't apply to, but some of you it does. With regard to the titles or the headings on these tables or graphs, if you can add some more specific information either within the title or as a note underneath the table to give the reader enough information to contextualize the data. For example, the year is important to know if you're talking about rates of births, or many people tackle teen births, so if you're presenting those statistics about teen births for specific areas, it'd be useful to know what year we're looking at because it's varied a lot in the past couple of decades. Also, another note, which was a challenge for at least a handful of people, I know some of this is kind of beyond your control to some degree, but if you're using different units of measurement for the pieces of data you're presenting in the table, if it's at all possible, it's useful to try to transpose that data into the same unit of measurement. For example, I think some people had some rates that were presented as percentages, and some people had a number of occurrences per 1,000 people in the population, and they would present both pieces of information in the same table. And I understand if the sources are reporting the information that way, it's a challenge to kind of piece through that and reshape the data to present it in the same way. But if you have the ability to do that and you're feeling ambitious, that's definitely the preference, because the goal for these tables is to have your reader look at them and say, oh, this makes perfect sense. You want to make it as easy on the reader as possible because you're trying to convey this information to your reader quickly. So imagine in a policy context where you get a meeting with a legislator and you want to try to quickly summarize some of these statistics so that they can have it on their desk and be like, if I need to, spit this back to somebody, I'll have it here to refer to. You want to make it really simple, really easy, clear cut, with all the information that's necessary to contextualize the data there on the table. Most of you guys did a great job with this, and even those who didn't, I understand when the data is reported a certain way, so don't feel badly. I'm just kind of suggesting in the future, if you have the ability to do that, it's good to transpose the data to have it all on the same level of measurement. When thinking about the benefit of looking at these types of comparisons by location and thinking about the ecology of policy and the ecological model, I just want to kind of summarize my thoughts on it. Many of you had different thoughts about this. I saw some of the responses were a bit vague, and I guess it just kind of made me concerned that we're not sure exactly what we're talking about. So just to clarify, from my perspective anyway, when I'm thinking about the ecology of policy and the benefit of these types of comparisons, it's really useful to be able to look at different places that might be similar in population size, population demographics, cultural values, those types of things. Yet, if those two different places have different policies in place and therefore are experiencing different outcomes in a specific social indicator, that's useful information. It's almost a natural experiment, right? So for example, thinking about Medicaid expansion and about the half states in the country who have expanded Medicaid to a broader population of people who have higher incomes than in other states where you're previously having to be at the federal poverty line. If you try to compare some specially selected states, for example, I think it's Arkansas that chose to expand Medicaid, and Oklahoma has not expanded Medicaid. And because these states share a border, I suppose they may have a similar population. We'd have to do some research into this, but it might make for a useful natural experiment in understanding how this policy affects people's access to health care, their rates of disease, the rates of disease detection, all of those things that hopefully would be related to access to medical care, right? So when I think about this type of assignment and this exercise, that's what I see as the benefit. Just throwing it out there, just in case there's any ambiguity about what we're doing here. So next you guys are working on the discussion board. I know that's coming up quickly, and I'll be turning to that next. I feel like I'm constantly hearing from you guys and grading. Good thing you guys have interesting thoughts to share. It makes it a pleasure to do. All right, so if you have any questions about the feedback on this assignment, again, it's provided in the same way as the policy advocacy paper. You should be able to see my comments within Turnitin and your grades in the Blackboard Grade Center. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll talk to you after the discussion board. Bye, guys.